Let's talk about pain. Let's talk about romantic pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. We're not discussing physical pain. We're not even going to go there. We're going to talk about the emotional pain, romantic pain, and of course the psychological pain that people actually feel. We're going to make it real. We're going to bring it out. I am going to take that topic and completely remove the curtain in front of it so you can see it better. I am Mario Leone. This is the Voices of Victory channel. Today's episode is the romantic pain of the second arrow. This is basically understanding why and what you do after it hurts more than the emotions have actually hit you. That's what that's about. So I think it's very important for me to be straightforward. I'm not going to lie. This is the uncomfortable truth. You will get hurt emotionally in this life. That is not optional. That part is not optional. You don't get a pass on that. No one does. So I want you to understand that that is the truth. Someone will misunderstand you. They may even deliberately misunderstand you. Someone you care about could actually pull away from you. And something you believed in will not respond in the same exact way that you actually thought it would. So let's get that very clear. But here is the part that everyone misses. This is the part that people just drive by it and they're moving too fast in life. The real emotional suffering does not come from the very first wound or piece of pain that you get. It doesn't happen from the first thing. It happens after. So the old teaching, and it's an ancient teaching, it's a concept of the two arrows. The first arrow is the event itself. That's what landed and struck you right in the back. The disappointment, the rejection, the lies, the discovery of they were not who they said they were, the loss, the emotional pain that's sticking in your back, and you didn't even decide on it. You didn't choose it. It happened. It went down that way for you. The second arrow is completely different. The second arrow is completely different because every bad experience you have builds that mental recipe in your skull for the way you look at the next relationships. It's called a schema. So that second arrow hits, and that gets added as an ingredient into your mental recipe as to how you look at relationships and people. So it becomes the narrative you build around it. You replay it in your mind over and over and over again. It's the meaning you assign to it through that schema, through that mental recipe. It's the meaning you assign when you are in absolute grief and you're sad. It's the assumptions that get bigger and bigger and snowball into big ideas, but they don't have any clear-headedness behind them because it's backed by emotion, maybe not reason, maybe not logic, but actual emotion. So the first arrow that gets hit right in the back, in your back, is unavoidable. But the second one can be self-inflicted. It's not the wound, it is what you actually do with the wound. The wound is going to be hard, it's going to be painful, it's going to suck, it's going to be bad. But what you do with it, how you alchemize that, that's up to you. How you work with that, that's up to you. How you heal that, that's up to you. Because that first arrow feels very strong when it's in the moment, when someone hurts you emotionally. Because it nails you, but it also goes right into your nervous system as well. So if you don't take the time out to actually heal and interpret this in the best possible way, then in the future, it becomes part of your mental recipe. And then when you're dating somebody else or in a new relationship, all of a sudden, your brain starts throwing off all kinds of possible threats. And now the rejection is far worse. It doesn't feel like rejection anymore for you. It actually feels like you've been abandoned by the other person. And when they're ignoring you, ghosting you, it doesn't feel like they're ghosting you anymore from that person. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like there's a complete, utter disconnection between the two of you. And that criticism that's directed at you, it doesn't feel like an attack on your identity or someone hurting your identity. It starts to go deeper than that. So the first arrow, it lands very fast, but that's just the event. It's not the story. It's not the healing. The pain, it's sharp. It's there. It's very simple. But the second arrow turns pain into suffering, emotional suffering, and psychological suffering. You start to say the loop question. The loop question is the question, by the way, where you repeat the same question over and over. We could call it broken record. The broken record question in your mind It's why did this happen to me? And now you have to find reasons. Once you say that, your brain has to find reasons to make it come out right in your head. Why did this happen to me? You keep asking it. You keep asking it. And the more you keep asking it, your brain becomes like Google. It seeks out an answer. Why did this happen to me? Well, it happened to me because I did this wrong all the time. So the self-blame kicks in. Then what does this actually say about who I am? That happens. What if this actually means that I'm not enough and it was all about me and it was all my fault? Then it gets worse. It starts to get worse. You start to replay all of those dialogues, conversations, and text messages inside your skull. You start to remember the tone of voice and what they said, and you reinterpret that. You might make an excuse for it and say, maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was me. You start to self-blame as well. And you start projecting some hidden meanings. You start imagining hidden meanings that weren't even there. So maybe it meant this way, maybe it meant that way, maybe it meant that way. So what happens is you start to predict. You become predictive. You start predicting future rejection, and it hasn't even happened. So it becomes part of your mental recipe. And next time you step into a relationship, you approach it with that recipe. Unless you remain objective and you say, everyone is different. Everyone is different. That's where the emotional pain becomes very psychological, very emotional, and very deep. It's not the event. Nothing to do with the event. The event happened. It is what it is. It went down the way it did. But the meaning, we are meaning-making machines. You took it, you ran with it, you made it real heavy emotionally. So the romantic pain that's there, you know what it does? It adds poison to that second arrow. So the romantic situations, they make the whole entire pattern worse because they're connected to attachment. So something that didn't seem right with that relationship, it felt uncertain. The mind doesn't just ask what happened. It starts to ask negative things like, am I still chosen? What's wrong with me? Did I lose something important? Was any of this actually real? That's where the second arrow becomes most dangerous, most poisonous. Because now it's no longer about the event. It's no longer about what happened. It's no longer how it went down. It is about your identity, your self-worth, and whether or not you belong in a relationship and what you believe about that. So your mind tries to create this shortcut. It uses the mental recipe for it because it doesn't like feeling unsafe or uncertain about things. So you start overthinking for hours and hours, and you throw yourself into this direction until at some point you develop some sense of certainty. But if that certainty is painful, you may keep replaying that over and over again, making the poison worse. So you have to be able to separate the event from the interpretation. It's not easy. No one said it was. If it was easy, everybody would do it. The first arrow is what happened. The second one is how you created conclusions or the conclusions you've jumped to about what actually happened. So you have to understand this is a one-time experience, a one-time person. This is your brain constructing narratives in order to feed that mental recipe for the future. So guess what? The emotional suffering? Yeah, it's there. That suffering is in between the two arrows. Right there, right smack in the middle. So your goal is not to push away the first arrow. That's going to happen. But you can't take every impact and turn it into your own personal vendetta of people are against you. Or I'm bad luck, or it's me. I'm the issue, right? You start to carve that out in your head. So you don't control the first arrow. It's going to happen to the best of us. And people will say things, and it ain't going to be comfortable all the time. It's going to be difficult. Life will throw the kitchen sink at you and interrupt the way things are going. And your emotions will hit pretty hard. And you may not have a chance to even prepare for it emotionally at all. But the second arrow, that's where you get to say, okay, I am responsible for my healing. I can take accountability for it. Responsibility is the work you do towards healing, and the accountability is how you speak to that so you can understand that. Because guess what? This pain will mold you like clay. It'll mold your soul like clay, and it will shape your entire life. Now, we have to tell ourselves better things. This happened. And now, this is one situation. I'm going to understand it. I'm going to move through it. So feel free to support this channel so we can actually grow together on this channel. And that means visiting the link below. Voices of Victory. Mario Leone. Don't forget to click on the Patreon. We'll see you soon. Take care.